So I think it's pretty straightforward, ease of execution-wise. Fnatic's draft looks a bit more, you know, all over the place with how they take fights.
Fnatic's fight definitely looks a little cheeky. We'll get to that in a second, especially after we see this last band and the final pick coming in for Fnatic. But I do want to say, if Team Liquid, with the 4 heroes that we see right now, you say the ease of execution is high as they do start to run into that reserve time here. I want to ask if it's going to fall apart. If it's going to fall apart with the incomplete information that we have right now, where does it fall apart? You said that the Centaur is going to initiate. Is that maybe where you don't instantly see that follow-up from the TB? Where can it all go wrong for Team Liquid?
Maybe in the lane stage more so, where early game they could get run over. You're looking at what Fnatic brings to the table hero-wise, very strong lane, and then also player skill-wise. They have a lineup of players that are just some of the best laning players in the game. Abed as a mid laner, Ice is one of those mechanically very gifted players as well, and the 2 supports are both, both former core players. DJ used to play mid and off lane. Jabs, when he burst on the scene, he was one of like the highest MMR players playing mid as well. So the individual talent is incredible on Fnatic, and that's where they can just crush the early game.
I mean, as a carry player, I would hate to play against this Fnatic lineup. Corp. Practically a single core. They have like a Dazzle Darks here. You can provide support, but if your TB gets Necro ulti, you're in trouble.
Do you like the Necro now that we've seen this? Obviously, we're kind of sitting here like, okay, we get to see something kind of new in this game, and it's at the point where we're seeing all of the Dota that's getting played get kicked up to the next level. I can't even wait for the next series as well. But what do you think of the Necro?
Be fun to see something new come out here at the major. It works this draft. So if the hero is still viable, I think Fnatic do have a bit of a draft edge here.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and we're going to find out right now. The game is ready. We're going to jump down and see who's going to take this. Fnatic versus Liquid.
Thank you so much, Rich. And ladies and gentlemen, I am bubbling with anticipation. Liquid versus Fnatic. Fog, we're here in the arena.
Yeah.
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. I am excited for some more Medusa versus Terrorblade. This is what we get at the main event. Arc Warden versus Terrorblade. Medusa versus Terrorblade every game. But no, we got to support Centaur, and it's Kuroki playing it. It's actually not going to be GH.
I know, a little bit of a departure there.
Yeah.
But you were talking about loving this pick as soon as that draft was coming out. You were like, Darkseer, Centaur, cool combo. Talk to me about it a little bit and what you hope to see.
Well, I mean, I just hope to see, of course, the vacuum combos, but I think it's a lot about how they're going to be doing in this lane, because now they're going to be able to put Mind Control if he wants to try to get like a 1v1 versus Ice versus the Brewmaster, and then they run an Inkswell plus Centaur. I'm wondering if Fnatic's lane can deal with it, and they do.
There's these booming speakers going out, and so much excitement.
I'm just looking at my screen. I'm actually locked on player perspective on the players. That's kind of interesting.
I think you need to disconnect and then reconnect.
That's okay.
All right.
The crowd is extremely excited, as they should be, though. This should be, I mean, this is a good matchup because it's Liquid, not at its full strength, and it's Fnatic, who have been rising in strength.
Yeah, they have been looking definitely stronger. I would still say that, you know, Liquid, it's sort of a toss-up, right? Like, Shadow from time to time is going to be, you know, having really good games, but we've also seen him really fumble. So I want to see if Liquid try and secure his early game just to the best of his ability and just make it as easy as they can for Mr. Shadow. And it does look like the movement down here, it's just going to be a trade-off of runes most likely, as the Necro is back behind the tier 2 tower in this bottom lane, and I don't think MP wants to come out of there right now.
No, it's like we were talking about, right? It's going to be these tri-lanes, what we love so much. They're putting the Necro bottom alone. So they're going to be making sure that Ice gets farm on the Brew. In this game, the Brew is incredibly important. That's the thing. It's like he has to have a good game. He's really good. He's pretty much the counter for the TB, and he's also the way to kind of hunt the Dazzle in the backlines to make sure that this guy can't always get the Graves off, to make sure they don't get these Sunder plays.
Well, we'll watch for it, and man, Fnatic just all around this Darkseer here, and looks like they are going to try and put the pressure onto him, the full-on tri-lanes. We saw so much sacrificial off-laner play in the last game. I think that we were looking over, and you pointed out it's like the off-laners were the bottom 2 net worth like 6 minutes or something in the previous series.
I mean, it was pretty comedic. We're all in the room together with like Boba and a bunch of the other like the coaches and stuff, and everyone's just looking. It's 1,000 net worth, 6 deaths between the both off-laners having 6 deaths by the 10-minute mark or so. Yeah.
Speaking of deaths, MP taking that Ghost Shroud early, but the punches are going to come fast and furious, and MP walking down, getting killed, and maybe even be able to turn this one back around though. Curl, they trade over the aggro to keep alive GH, and he's going underneath the tower.
He's salving.
All right, Curl.
He's safe.
Easy peasy. The captain gets out.
How much resources for that though? The salve was used on GH and the salve on Kuroki, so it was expensive, but they got what they came for. And MP, he doesn't have TP available.
Oh, yeah,
he had to use it initially to TP to the tier 1 when they were making aggressive play on him.
And he's sort of waffled in between going towards top lane, and now he's going to go back towards bottom. So it's a very long walk for this Necrophos. Pretty slow movement speed hero out the gate, as well as we see up in the top lane. Mind Control also just taking a beating.
He's going to have a much more free time on a Darkseer, though. They're going to chase him around, and the one nice thing that they have is that they have a Shadow Shaman whose right clicks is, 76 right click damage, so being able to just deny every single creep from those early levels of Ion Shells should be pretty easy.
Look at Ice just zoning Mind Control completely out of experience range as well, and now DJ, he's the real core in this lane.
Yeah, they do that all the time between the two of them, interchanging farms. It's a similar thing between like Fnatic and Secret, right? Like this DJ Yapzor and Ice Zai. Sometimes they sacrifice a bit of their farm for each other.
Definitely. And so Matumba Man in the mid lane is going to pull some of those creep waves up towards the north, find himself an Arcane Rune.
That's how
spamming out those spells.
That's very nice. Low on mana. Did eat a couple of those snakes in the mid lane already, but they're already trying to set up for a kill here. We see GH is rotating toward the mid lane. If Abed steps too far up, he could be in a lot of trouble here as they're making the go.
Dangerous times. Inkswell moving forward as a stroke of fate afterwards. They try and salve up a little bit longer with that Mystic Stake, and it looks like that might be enough to keep him alive. The punches are there, though, and GH gets the kill.
Poison Touch. We see Liquid do this a lot with this Dazzle mid. They haven't done it much at this tournament, right? I don't think I actually saw them play it, but before this tournament, they were playing it all the time. Matumba Man with his Book 1 into Arcane Boots, into Mech, into Greaves. This game, there is a little bit of appeal, though, going for that Necro 3 versus the Necrophos, but I think he'll still just go for those auras, depending on what the Darkseer builds. That's all. That's all we got to see, how Mind Control's game progresses. If he has a good start, maybe they'll let him get the auras. If he's getting super shut down, they're going to have to let Matu do it.
Obviously, a pick that you felt like you really liked coming out of from Liquid as well. Nice combo against this Necrophos if he ever gets up to level 6. MP is having a very tough time of it. Kuro just punching away at him. But it's a good answer just to the Reaper Scythe with the Shallow Grave once you get up to those levels.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to late game. Well, if we get to late game, but Darkseer Wall plus Reflection. The Dusa, if there's going to be like 2 little illusion kind of things of a Dusa just killing people. So depending on how farm Fnatic gets on that Dusa, it could turn the tide both ways. There's a nice toss back there by Jabs.
Much needed. The story of the big tanky supports here with the Centaur and the Tiny, and Jabs making sure that he can protect his core as they try and get the pull off.
They're solidifying their farm much better on the side of Liquid right now. This Terrorblade is full free farm.
Definitely what you want to see if you are Team Liquid. And on the other side of it, Brewmaster, 16 denies ain't bad. That's pretty nice for the Brewmaster, as Curl again going to move forward and just bully away Jabs here. I'm sure that there was a deny exchanged and they tip each other fine.
This tip is because I'll say right after, but
good avalanche there. Hits onto both of them, and now MP in some trouble here. He's trying to stick around a little bit longer. DJ making the rotation, the hoof stomp, able to catch for the moment. Shadow going to start laying into all of these heroes, and if Fnatic aren't careful, they're going to lose several cheeks. Able to walk away to the side. Jabs isn't going to be able to quite get the kill, and he keeps eating his way through the trees, living, and with the stick charges, they all go down.
All 3. And in the meantime, mid lane, Matumba Man was extremely low on health, extremely low on mana, goes bottom, finds a regen rune. And that's why they tipped each other. Gave a little bit of a chuckle.
Well, all good things coming up with a 5-0 start for Liquid. And Mind Control dodges away from that avalanche, but can't quite seal the bounty rune. So it will be 2 apiece.
It's tri-lane though, just being able to secure the farm and put the pressure. That's the difference. The lane from the side of Fnatic, they would be able to, maybe, but it's a Darkseer. He can actually be pretty elusive and he's constantly forcing the wave in. Sure, they have these crazy amount of denies, but that means they're not killing him. They're making sure to control the lane. And he's level 3. He's almost level 4 in the Darkseer. He doesn't have farm, but he's gotten levels.
And I mean, that's the thing, too, that's sort of strange about this situation is that if you end up going into the laning stage with your Necrophos so badly hampered, he could just be food. They have the type of heroes that can blow him up. We do see this rotation coming around from Jabs as he wants to set up a gank onto Matumba Man as we're waiting for the pause to come undone. But yeah, you can see gold breakdown right there. Terrorblade still leading the way. Being a part of the kill there as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty concerned right now for Fnatic. They're gonna have to have like their saving graces a bit coming out here from the Brewmaster. That's why they're making sure that they're giving him the good start. But you have to have like a really good game now on Ice 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 because, like you mentioned, I mean MP level 2, absolutely no money whatsoever. 0-2, his score. And this is a hero that they wanted to lane versus like the Centaur kind of thing, right? They wanted to be able to put in that matchup, but when Liquid switches and makes the Centaur support, it completely changes the matchup that they wanted.
One of the reasons that so often those sort of flex picks have been so valuable in the past, and sometimes you run into a little bit of an awkward situation where a flex pick isn't actually that good in its flex position. The Centaur really good, particularly we compare him later together with that Darkseer.
Yeah, and we saw him at like KL Major, right? We saw a lot of Force Centaur kind of on the rise, especially from I think TNC in particular, and that's in the similar region as Fnatic.
Potentially could have been wary or aware of it, as did have some readies come out, but it looks like they're still waiting to get started on this one. And, well, you know, at least from the get-go, it's a 5-0 score, about 1,000 gold lead 5 minutes in. But it doesn't feel like completely out of control how some of these have felt early on. If you're sort of like looking forward to the mid-game, Fnatic, are you that concerned about this sort of bad start?
It's really going to be a lot of on Ice Ice Ice. He's their team fight in the majority of the team, and he's their frontliner as well. It's just this Necro really scares me. Darkseer can have his own pressure in the game. That's the thing, is they can kind of rally around him even if he doesn't have much farm, because he's a lot tankier and all that. Like Necro, you have to have items. You have to be having this good start. You're, like you said, you mentioned it yourself. You're food. Yeah. And they have heroes to deal with it too. They have the Dazzle Grave, as you mentioned. They have this, I know Black mentioned it on the panel too, is the Phantom. The Phantom is something that's super annoying to play as Necrophos, because, yeah, popping your Ghost Shroud is kind of a double-edged sword. You pop it, you can't kill the thing off of you, but at least you're immune to that physical damage when you are getting that little thing on top of you.
The rotation out of there, looks like the Tiny was not able to find a gank, decides better, and Kuro runs into Jabs. Just gonna give him one of those punches, and this movement from Liquid, are they trying to set up a gank themselves, I guess? And yeah, that ward's going to scout out any movement here.
They want to keep tabs on the jungle of the Medusa. They know that this is where she's going to be farming soon. Just get those deep wards down, watch the Ancients.
This is actually a really strong gank. Them Inkswell in with the hoof stomp if they're able to find it. Fnatic should know it's coming, though. We'll see if they decide to make that movement. Jabs runs into Kuro, and, well, I think that puts the kibosh on it.
Yeah, that's not who they want. Can they go for this top now, though, onto Mind Control?
Shackles able to catch Control for a long time. Mind Control surge away, ends up going down. DJ gets the kill.
They're starting to get their levels built up. Now they can threaten those kills onto the Darkseer unlike before. And almost Arcane Boots as well finished onto DJ.
Well, what you want to see.
Up lane. They're going to have the Darkseer porting in. This Invis on Kuro might be able to find them a kill.
If he just throws the Ion Shell on and then the walk forward.
They're probably like, where'd that Ion Shell go?
This is the pub strat.
They'll notice it soon.
The hoof stomp, now the chase down. They want to find this kill here. On Ice Ice Ice, moving away, but he will get hit there by the Inkswell, and the chase forward, the slow burn with that double edge, and one more punch. Goes down.
Very fortunate Invis rune, and it's also just a very fortunate early game for Liquid. Because they had this incredible start to shut down MP, yeah, they can just leave Shadow down here all the time and make moves.
God. MP needs to walk away very quickly. Ghost Shroud's wands, he's out of there. but this is that catapult wave.
Yep, 3 points in that meta, 60 bonus damage on top. Yeah, MP has to be so careful. Level 3 versus level 7.
Summoning a couple more illusions there, could walk back in. They're leaving him alone again against that Terrorblade as that's going to eat himself another one of those poison touches.
They're just scared because they don't want to go bottom. They want to be sure to try to match these movements of the supports of Liquid because they're really hurting the cores. Like, they get that kill on the Brewmaster. That was huge. Look how good Ice 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 is doing on the net worth.
Definitely been able to catch back up a little bit, have himself a nice time, but really it's Shadow who's just chunking away at this tier 1 tower, already down to half HP, and with that Metamorphosis wearing off, it does look like the continued aggression's gone from it.
They're going to go for this tower. They're actually just cutting the wave. They've brought the 2 supports down. They want to take this out so that they have those easy access points into the jungle. They already had some wards down, but now with this tower dead, it's going to be way easier to try to pressure the Dusa if she's farming on the right side.
And MP's just going to TP out of there. While all this is happening, you still have Grimstroke that's sitting mid, soaking up experience, and making sure they can't get too much pressure onto that tower. 3,000 gold lead 8 minutes in.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed.
They're going to keep the pressure on, so we're going to have to see. It's going to be a lot on it. Okay, let's see. Ice Ice Ice, he's got the Vlad's finished, so I think with jabs they can make some good combos come out, because they don't need a Blink Dagger if you have the Tiny. You can toss your Brewmaster in to make a lot of those initiations.
Although we're going to pull back in here onto GH things. Well, he's living for the moment, but will eventually be brought down there. And now the Poison Touch. Tumberman just trying to keep him alive. Kuro finds the Hoof Stomp. They're in pretty deep here, and you know what, the bad Juju's starting to build up. There's a chance that they could think about turning this, but really, it's just Fnatic that want to keep chasing forward. They get the catch here onto that Dazzle, and Kuro, he is also going to fall. They can pull him back down with the Spell Magic, and now the Avalanche chasing forward. If they can kill off this Dazzle, no points in grave. This is huge for Fnatic.
Great moves there by Fnatic. I'm surprised that Kuroki actually finished that TP. They really wanted to make sure that they can defend this tier 1, but they've lost. They lost their core. Just losing Kuro would have been okay, but then when they lose Matu, it's very painful. And the tower is taking heavy pressure. They're still going to rotate more to try to defend it as long as possible.
So much pressure onto keeping this tower alive, and it's going to all be for naught, it looks like, as GH, he gets ran at and just going to be brought down. Another kill, Kuro moves in, they use the glyph, but this tower is gone.
That swung the whole net worth. That just was pretty much a 3k or more swing, just in that middle situation. Fnatic being prepared for the fight, and Liquid not expecting those movements.
And feeling like they were strong enough to come and fight it because of that strong early game, but suddenly, as you said, it swings back the other direction. MP has been able to have this bottom lane pretty much to himself.
Yep. Getting some breathing room. Very costly mistakes for Liquid. A successful first primal split, and we see Abed continuing to stack up Ancients. Has a triple finished already, level 9 too for that max split shot.
And as you were mentioning, it's Ice Ice Ice, the man that made that movement, and he was the one that needed to be strong. 10-minute mark. Does look like they were trading off a couple of his bounty runes, but now Fnatic, where do they want to go next? I guess you play around the next brew split again?
More than likely. They do have Serpent Wards available too, though, so they could look to maybe set up for a tower, or maybe get. They have their defensive ward, so they do see Shadow down bottom. If they see this Terrorblade completely alone, they can set up a smoke play for him. But for the fights, yeah, they're going to be playing around that primal split pretty much exclusively. While on the side of Liquid, they're not really like these, like waiting for a big ulti. They're just going to group up and play, maybe play around the meta sometimes. But I think Shadow's mostly just going to be jungling.
You see here as well that GH moves into position, but DJ was already there anticipating that movement from the Grimstroke, and MP has his level 6, finds himself the kill he wants. The scythe is bigger than the paintbrush.
Well, no, he's trickling back up. He's actually surpassed his Shadow Shaman in net worth now in the Necrophos. Every little thing matters.
Toss away, does not want that Centaur near him, and he's underneath the tower now. Kuro tries to stampede away, but it's not happening. Fnatic keep finding these kills, and feels like Liquid are playing kind of lost over the past couple of minutes.
Yep. They're getting outmaneuvered quite heavily right now by Fnatic. The move making is a little bit hard, right? You have to be able to have successful ones with your Centaur and your Grimstroke, but they have to be together. That's the biggest thing. Is I've seen a lot of one by one just now by Liquid, and Fnatic, they're looking to go. He can dispel this surge. It's actually not going to catch. He was a little slow on that one.
Yeah, not quite in range, and they're going to try and dive here to see if they can get GH, but the TP move coming in from Kuro a little bit early on that Avalanche. This brew split's going to start wearing off pretty soon, and if they're not careful, you might get caught into a bad position, but it looks like walk away from Ice Ice Ice, and Now, Liquid defend the top tier 1 tower.
Now there's no Bruce split. Now Liquid can look to take a fight themselves.
They also did use those wards, so even split push is going to be a little bit more difficult. And their aim is towards this top tier 1 tower, where still the Brewmaster sits, but this Necrobook level 1, Kuro being that Guardian out front and center, and they're going to use the Glyph. Fnatic still thinking about taking this fight.
They're bringing Abed too to the defenses, so it's gonna, I mean, it'll slow down the farm of the Deuce a very little bit, but you see, she's having a great time. Abed is keeping it neck and neck with Shadow on the Terrorblade. Shadow is not looking to get involved in the comparison.
And it is just that catch-up time that we were talking about for MP, and also the Shadow Shaman was able to get away with their mid as well. So 7-6, less than 1,000 gold lead, just about that 13-minute mark in. Waiting to see where they go next. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's very clear timers for Fnatic when they want to try and make a go. Liquid, it's sort of around Metamorphosis, but not really, because he still wants to farm on Shadow.
Yeah, they don't really, they're like, it's around meta, but we want Manta, and we want Scotty, so we don't really want to fight around meta just yet. We want a little bit more time. And he also wants a BKB at some point in this game. It's just, yeah, it's hard. Like, playing into Brewmaster as TB, it's just like, the rule is, showing up the fights is way too difficult, because you don't have your illusions. They're always going to be getting dispelled.
So Mind Control down here bottom, just going to back away from MP.
So he'll be the pipe, and it will be Matu the Greaves that he tends to do quite a bit. That's the build that they usually do like to do. Doesn't want to go for that whole Necro 3, maybe eventually, but the Necro 1 is just a really good farming tool that we see because of your beautiful bad juju.
Shadow just 1 second faster than average.
Just 1 second. 1 second could make the difference.
Oh, fastest, excuse me, that's different. That's a lot different than average. You're killing it, Shadow, sorry, man. 90 damage talent for that Darkseer. And it looks like Ice, Ice, Ice going for the Hand of Midas. They're feeling like this is going to be the pace of the game for a little while here and want to try and ensure that late game.
It just seems like it's going to be a bit of a farm game because Liquid's playmaking is just not as easy to make as Fnatic's. If they have Stampede, they can run in, but you want a Blink Dagger, and it's a support Centaur, so somehow they're going to have to try to find Kuroki some farm so they have some real form of initiation, unless they want to just do some walk into fight, which I don't think they really want to do versus a Medusa Brewmaster draft. Yeah. They're going to get their abilities off if you're just walking in on them. You have to try to catch them from full to take out this Brew split.
You need that Stampede to make sure you get away in case things get too dicey.
Yeah.
So, again, Fnatic make the move up towards that top lane, maybe signaling why Liquid were just trying to hold off on all these towers. They're throwing bodies at them to keep them alive as wards will be dropped eventually. GH going to try and make sure he doesn't get caught and TP's out.
I feel like it has been the story of a lot of Liquid's games. I mean, of course, they're not playing with their full roster, but I have been seeing them just kind of delaying a lot of the times, either waiting for a crucial BKB timing in some games, or just not wanting to take too many fights, just trying to play their own game rather than playing a reactionary game.
So Fnatic will secure themselves the top 2 bounty runes. Liquid/Wings get the bottom 2, and it's a smoke up now from the Centaur and the Dazzle. And they are down in the bottom side of the map. Kuro maybe just trying to place some deep wards.
Yep. Try to keep tabs of the Dusa. You know she's going to farm Ancients a lot in this game, so always having a ward in the enemy, well, at least one of the enemy jungles is really important. MP he's positioned down here.
But try and take this fight. It's a smoke up now again from the Tiny and the Deuce, and MP walks forward, trying to sandwich them here as they come around from the other side. And Liquid chasing forward. Kuro's there as well. Stampede onto MP. He's Ghost Shrouding, trying to live through all of this. And Fnatic just trying to spring the trap onto him in a second. They're trying to kill him off. They almost get it. They do! Jabs finds the kill onto Shadow. So clutch. They lose the Necro, but now they've found more here as well. With the Brew split chasing down the Tumba Man and Mind Control lifted up into the air, they might end up losing just about all their cores here. The Tumba Man already has the Grave, trying to get the walk away, the Vacuum interrupting things, but eventually they will take what they came for, and Mind Control also ran after, toss up into the air. This has been a complete and utter disaster for Liquid.
God. MP with the bait. He baited all of Liquid in there, and if you look at Liquid's draft, were talking about, you know, they have the reflection as well as that wall that can be pretty damn good. But yeah, she's very farmed. Level 16, standing on top of a DD as well. Lovely.
DJ being chased down by these Necro books. Necrophos there to help out DJ, but with the poison touch and a little itty-bitty right clicks coming through.
They keep refreshing it.
Oh my god, he needs to get away. Another hit. Get out of there. One more. He's going to exit. All right.
He's okay.
That was deadly.
Playing support versus like Necrobooks is very sad as bottom. Okay, GH.
Wow.
And Shadow able to set up for this kill. That's I mean, that's a lot of gold. Look at that experience too. And 780 each.
And immediately they head into the pit though. So Fnatic feeling like they can make this happen, and with the Medusa DD that you were talking about, as well as these snakes dropped, Liquid just aren't in position right now.
No, they don't have Blink Dagger on the Centaur. I mean, KuroKi's still trying to farm in the mid lane, like we said. He's a 5-position Centaur. It will take time. And Shadow used meta bottom. So as soon as they saw that, they immediately went. And yeah, free rush.
Now big right now. And it looks like Abed is going to be the one that picks this up. The ward's used. And now it's Fnatic's turn to try and control this map. And Shackles from the low ground, they've got him caught. Darkseer going to be hexed afterwards. The toss forward onto MP. He's thinking about using that Reaper Scythe, but doesn't commit it there, as it wouldn't have been able to get the kill.
So they do have... Medusa has a pretty good game because their direct counters on the side of Liquid aren't really as strong in comparison. I would say Fnatic's Brewmaster and Necrophos are better versus like TB than, let's say, like Darkseer and Grimstroke or something like that. They do have the ways to counter the core hero in comparison.
Let's see that Abed, second highest amount of last hits on any hero. It's Medusa.
204 last hits at the 19-minute mark.
That's insane.
He stacked, he had like a triple stack, he stacked double stack of his hard camp. He also was stacking the like medium camp that's right next to that mid lane over and over again too, to be able to benefit from farming it.
Now taking Liquid's camps as well.
Yeah.
So the constant farm of Medusa just taking over this game here.
It's quite a threat. Do they have I'm looking and I'm like, do they have the damage to deal with this Medusa if she continues at this rate? I don't really think so. Liquid's damage is not really going to scale that incredible. It's really going to be Shadow's damage, who's the only one that gets really, really strong. Everybody else's is kind of just, it is what it is. It's, you know, it's that static damage that we talk about.
I mean, do they have the damage to do with her right now? Sometimes we see these like 20-minute pushes coming from Medusa with Aegis that's just so difficult to stop, and already taking down this tier 2 tower. Iden, smoke up from 3 on the other side, over by the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and Ice wants to chase down Cinderbrew onto mind control as the clap afterwards to get that further slow, and now the Shackles coming in, they want to chase forward. The rest of Liquid is showing up. He's very tanky with this pipe, healing back up, but he is going to end up getting the crane. Now the turnaround, they pull him back together with the vacuum and the hook stuff. Fnatic absolutely destroyed in mind control, living through it all. They're actually buying back on this tiny, but they didn't really want to go into this. Abed thinking about chasing forward. He has an Aegis still willing to chase forward and try and find this kill. Can he do it in time, Kuro? Living very, very low HP. The Cinderbrew now onto Shadow. He might start hitting himself as well. And oh my good God, Liquid baited that one out. Might be able to take this fight afterwards. Kuro is so freaking low. It's going to try and walk away. Shadow Metamorphosis. It's down. It's still going to be used. And can they kill them all off? The avalanche coming from Jab. This fight keeps going to Sunder. Able to turn it again onto Abed. And now just trying to run away with that surge. They have the Stone Gate. And there's going to be the Reaper's Scythe to follow. Somehow, someway, Fnatic, with buyback coming from Tiny, they make the difference.
They just, Abed just strolls in. They can't deal with this Medusa. She's far too tanky, and she's not even level 20 just yet. She's about to be with that extra mana talent. Uh-oh, Liquid.
Oh my God.
That damage.
It's so ridiculous how strong
Shadow's just desperately trying to get that timing that we're talking about to get the BKB, so he doesn't get Mystic Snake. That's honestly seems like one of the biggest things I've seen the problems for these Terrorblades versus Deuces lately. It's like you get hit by a Mystic Snake and you cannot sunder in a lot of these team fights. He did get it off in that one, but yeah, playing into the Aegis is going to be pretty tough, even though it's going to be gone, what, in about 30 seconds? But they've gained so much out of it. But the net worth is still even. Yeah. That's the one thing, is Liquid's still doing a good job of farming and keeping that there. Experience is about 5k for Fnatic, but
it looks like now with that Scotty coming out onto Dusa, it is going to be Aegis expiring, and they still have a couple more towers to claim in the bottom side of the map if they want. But the thing that I've been seeing more and more often, I feel like, is the Shadow Shaman becomes such a threat where you can just push out one of those side lanes and Liquid are going to have to respond. If they, you know, smoke up top and send a couple of heroes there, it's always going to be a worry for Liquid.
And these Shadow Shamans are just, they're terrifying. Yeah, like the game earlier today, we were seeing it. It's just, even this Shackles, just the distance that you get, if they use their disables, and let's say you get to a point of like a BKB on DJ, he can just shackle pretty much freely. And he probably will build toward that eventually.
Definitely.
Going to be the biggest one is if he's able to get it fast, Shadow's going to be really limited because he has to go for the BKB before he can go for MKB.
Level 20 Dusa with the whole team behind Abed. They have the bad juju, they create the illusion, the Hex to try and interrupt and turn it, but that means they can't take away the Medusa illusion. They're soul binded together. Abed, he has no mana at all. In trouble, trying to turn the Stampede to chase forward for more. A long duration stun there. Can't he get anything off? He is going to end up throwing out that Reaper Sight, but still living through it. Oh, the lift up there to interrupt the Sunder. Can they kill him off in time? The toss, they're almost finding it. They've actually getting the kill, and Terrorblade is going to go down. And now trying to chase forward for more. There's the lift up onto one, well, now the Shackles and the Avatos to follow it up as well. They can buy back on the TV if they want to, but the chase forward coming from Fnatic might be too strong. Mind control great yet again, keeping him alive, waiting for the full duration on the hoof stomp. They are disabled for absolutely ever. Oh my God. Kill off Ice, and MP also possibly gonna fall here as Matumba Man finds his prize for dead, and Fnatic, they're gonna lose possibly one more here as well. They all die.
Oh, I can't wait to see this fight recap, actually. I want to see how much damage Matumba Man did during all this. Yeah, that's what I thought. I saw this, the Medusa was trying to run away from the reflection as well as the wall, which is a big thing that we would say could be a problem for her. And she had 4 poison stacks on her. Actually 4 poison touches, so she was getting ticked down so heavily while trying to disengage from that. The Grimstroke comes in from the back too and cleans up. Liquid still showing that they can take these fights.
Yeah, now they're in the lead, 3,000 gold. Having that Aegis also be gone right before that engagement, you know, you feel strong with the Scotty, but doesn't work.
Yeah, Abed maybe playing a little bit too aggressively there, just being just a bit too far up. He lost like his whole mana pool before the fight started, it seemed. And then, yeah, those double illusions. As the stronger you get on Medusa, the stronger the wall as well as the reflection can be.
So a 4,000 gold lead. 25 minutes in, and, well, still waiting for that next Roche.
Yep. That was a wild fight. Matumba Man's going to get a lot out of that, too. Them having Greaves also making a bit of a difference. As we look on the other side, Fnatic, they don't have Greaves. So, Dazzle in a lot of these team fights. That fight lasted well, it was like a minute or so. That means 2 Greave usages inside of the fight. That is the power of this bad juju. And when you're sitting in the back lines as a Dazzle, and you're just casting your spells non-stop, I don't even know how many minus armor stacks he had on everybody. But he's free casted in the entire duration of that because they focused everything on Shadow.
The multiple Graves too, it's just like committing so heavily onto one. I will say that looked like it could have gone even worse for Fnatic, like getting that, you know, lift up onto the Terrorblade to stop the Sunder and all, you know, all those moments, but
they have to prioritize catching in the back lines though. Yeah. I do think Ice has to throw this Dazzle in the air, and they're going to go for those focus fire targets on the Terrorblade in particular. It's gonna get harder too now, as we mentioned. It's like the big key timing for Terrorblade is that BKB. Shadow has it finished, also getting close to his level 20 talent, which in this game, we already mentioned it, right? You can go the They're looking to take this fight before looking for the roast. Shadow's just walking in.
They both have high ground vision right now, but Fnatic, they pop the BKB. Abed is there as well. They're on top of the shrine already. Soulbind onto one. They're going to use that bruise split, and Abed still living, but he can't actually get into range to hit these heroes. Now Liquid maybe going a bit too far forward. So much damage coming from the right clicks. Jabs looks like he might end up going down, but they have the Reaper sight to take down Mind Control. They haven't been able to deal with the Dazzle, but that's just because he's lifted up in the air. And now Shadow fully isolated away from the rest of his team. The Hex is there. The Shackle onto the Dazzle, keeping him away from Shadow so he can't get off the Grave. But the Inkswell to try and turn it, and now they find the Grave onto him. Now the vacuum. There's the hook stop. Can they kill him off in time? It's so much damage out there, and they just need to disengage. The Surge away, trying to walk. Shadow is at too low HP, and now they've got him caught. The Shackles, they're trying to kill him off in time. Avoiding any type of a Sunder off. It's still on cooldown. They can't take that fight, and Liquid lose 4.
Oh, Liquid really tried to force that one there, but in that positioning, Ice with a new BKB, like, well, not new, but relatively new BKB, he's able to just get this Dazzle in the air constantly, and look at Abed's damage.
It's 20,000, it's 10,000 more damage dealt from Fnatic, but Liquid are the ones that win the fight. That's insane. What? That's what it said on there. Am I crazy? On the fight recap.
Oh, they did more damage, yeah, but Fnatic won the fight, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, now they're walking to Roche, and they've got Vlador and Sustain with Necro.
I like that what, by the way, that was great.
Clip. They need to be able to get on top of the Deucer right away. That's why it won Liquid the fight first time, is Abed was positioned really far up and got most of his mana taken away instantly. This time around, they initiate on the tanky guy. And look at that swing. The experience too, in particular, it's just massive.
Such a huge swing in their favor. 10,000. Gonna start getting towards those later talents. Fnatic 2,000 gold up, just within vision right here of the ward.
Liquid has to be really good about the way they start these fights too. Like we saw the vacuum hoof stomp, but that was at the end of the fight. The fight was pretty much over. While on the side of Fnatic, they have so much control. Shadow Shaman and Brewmaster just provide so much for you inside of these team fights. And the Brew just provides a nice blanket around Abed.
He did go for that reflection cooldown like you were talking about. This smoke was in full vision of the ward. And so Liquid are going to back out and play the other side of the map.
And Liquid has a lot of deep vision down. They're actually placing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the wards.
So how do you play now after that fight? Do you just need to try and avoid fights constantly as Liquid? Try and get some split push going?
Next one is, I think they just need the MKB period, because Abed finished Butterfly after that, and Terrorblade's damage versus a Butterfly Dusa is just not there, and he needs to be doing as much as possible. So I think that's the biggest next timing. I think fighting into Aegis is still going to be extremely difficult. Maybe they can try to pick something up with all this advantageous vision that they have on the board right now, but I don't think Fnatic's going to give them that. They're going to kind of stick together. They may even look to threaten high ground and force heroes back, just to not let Liquid try to get any of these pickoffs.
I mean, you have to respond to the Dusa at that point. She's pushing up on the high ground there. It does definitely feel like it's just been that battle of who has less mana.
As I was mentioning, if he BKB grabs somebody, they cannot actually remove it.
The only way would be to try and find kills. That's a wall. Drop down. But the Manta and the walk away.
Yep, they're just going to disengage, go back to farming. They forced everybody back. Free tower. And they still have their brew split, and they still got all their stuff ready. And of course, we'll see more auras being picked up by Ice. That AC will be the next one.
And oftentimes it's felt like it's been these sort of like very even games, and then you have that one big defining team fight that sort of sets the stage for the rest of the game. And I don't know if we found that yet, but it is that slight lead for Fnatic here. It still definitely feels like Liquid can take the fights if they just get them on their terms.
Yep, they have to get some big combos, and they have to be able to isolate this Dusa. It's going to be tough.
That vacuum AoE going towards the Crimson Guard next.
Mitigate a lot of that Deuce's farm, or Deuce's damage. However, there is still a Brewmaster in the game, so that Crimson Guard block, whenever he does get it, can still be dispelled.
Shadow Shaman smoked up there, and Well, let's just gain down some wards, I believe, as the Medusa's going for the Daedalus.
Yeah, trying to get just more damage into their lineup. I mean, besides the Terrorblade, they're pretty squishy. Dazzle, I mean, Matama Man's kind of tanky because he has got these Guardian Greaves, but yeah, that's going to make it pretty hard for them to survive.
15 seconds until Wall is back up from the Darkseer, as Abed wants to take down this melee barracks, but also in Shadow down to about half HP.
Yeah, he sees that there's no butterfly being built, so he knows he can go for that straight damage on the Medusa too.
There's the hoof stomp, the jump in. It wasn't perfectly timed. Nice Sights is able to get the BKB on Shadow. Walking forward in the duration of his BKB. It's going to dart the reflection now. Abed hitting his friends and almost finding the kill on Matama Man. He does go down. No buyback. 70 seconds. Now they have a lift up onto that Centaur as well. In the air at Fnatic. They are in Liquid's base. And Abed still sitting tall and fine with this Aegis, but the rest of his teammates don't have it, and he's starting to hurt him pretty hard. Now the Hex, the follow-up coming. They have the soul bind, but DJ walking forward, and he does find the shackles, but they're still living through this for the moment. The avalanche, the toss, Jab's trying to do it. They get the Reaper sight. There's the kill. No buyback for the Terrorblade, and Fnatic just gonna walk tall through the entire base and start to take down these tier 3 towers.
Man, I'm loving these Shadow Shaman builds that we're seeing. This like Blink BKB build. How do you deal with it if he just grabs somebody? And now Fnatic, they've done it.
Well, I said it's just the one big defining fight. Apparently it was it right beforehand, but the Medusa proves to be too strong.
I mean, the Liquid threw a lot of bodies to try to